All right, guys, welcome back to the second round of the 2022 NFL Draft. Here with your Fireside Giants boys, and the Giants are on the clock, 43rd overall pick. They traded back from 36 to 38, then 38 to 43rd. They picked up the 146th pick and the 114th pick, some really great value there. But the Giants, who are they going to go with right now? This is really interesting. I feel like they could go with the receiver. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Whoa.
Interesting.
I don't even know who this guy is.
Wan'Dale
Wan'Dale
Robinson out of
Robinson.
Kentucky.
Who
Okay.
who is that? I didn't. Who the
Not
fuck
someone
is
I'm very
that?
familiar with. 5'8", 178 pounds,
He's not
4.44
even on the
speed.
board.
This sounds very similar to Kadarius Toney type player. Are you getting the same vibe, Alex? This sounds a lot like a guy who might have a similar skill set to what Kadarius Toney already brings to the table.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it looks like it. That would
Well,
be
from the
interesting.
highlights that they're showing, it's a lot of end arounds and short passes and run after the
Hmm.
catch. This does look very similar to the skill set that Kadarius Toney brings to the table. And
Yeah, this is interesting.
if you're listening to the NFL Network right here, Alex, they just mentioned Kadarius Toney. There's a lot of Kadarius Toney talk, is what they just said.
Wow, that would be a big shakeup. This is really interesting.
Yep,
Wow.
this is something. I'll say, though, I really like the Giants' strategy here. If this was the guy that they were targeting, they knew that they could trade down and gain extra picks in the value. So they moved all the way down from 36 to 43. They gained a fourth and a fifth round pick in the process. They gained a lot of value from trading down. But was Wan'Dale Robinson out of Kentucky the right selection? That is the question. Remains to be understood. I guess we'll see, man.
This is
But
crazy, bro. What
yeah.
I got, they're really gonna trade. This really feels like they're gonna trade Kadarius Toney right now. This really feels like they're gonna. I mean, this guy's not even on the board. If you look at ESPN's wide receiver section, this dude doesn't even show up. He's on like
Yeah,
the
I don't
second page.
I don't know if I want to
This is a
go so far
weird.
as to say that the Giants are going to trade Kadarius, but I get where you're coming from because again, this is a guy with a very similar skill set to Kadarius Toney is what it seems, and doesn't seem like you hear all the rumors throughout the weeks, Kadarius Toney could be traded. They're unhappy with him because of the BS with the voluntary workouts. Maybe this is foreshadowing a potential trade. I'm not sure. I don't want to get too far out of ourselves, though. I think that maybe they're just trying to load up on weapons. Second round pick used on a wide receiver. Looks like he's got a very exciting skill set for sure. I know that Brian Dable, if you take a look at what he's done in Buffalo, they've had a lot of guys with similar skill sets and they've made it all work together somehow. So it could be
Yeah,
one of those situations where they're just kind of adding fire plus fire rather than fire and ice in a way, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So, yeah,
I mean,
interesting
look,
pick here.
those two guys together on the same offense. You're talking about the most modern offense in football. Those two, Kadarius Toney and what is his? How do you even say his name? Wandale, what
I believe
Wandale
it's
Robinson
Wan'Dale.
together. I mean, if
Wan'Dale
you're talking
Robinson.
about those two guys together in motion, that's definitely a problem. But I mean, this screams that they're looking to trade Kadarius Toney. If they don't, this would be a really interesting offense to run. I'd be pretty excited to see how they develop it. But I didn't see this one coming in a million years. I mean, I never have even heard of this receiver, and he's not even on ESPN's draft board. That's how unknown he is. He's not even on their draft board. Like, they literally don't have him. He doesn't exist. Like Sky Moore, John mentioned, I would have went with Sky Moore personally. I love Sky Moore, but
I
this
do like
seems to be one
Sky
of those
Moore.
like this seems to be one of those like Joe Shane like sleeper picks. But like a second round, they could have got this guy in like the sixth round. It seems like.
Well, we'll see. I'm going to take a look at what PFF's draft board looked like and see what they have to say about him. We'll give you the instant analysis on him through there. But this is definitely a shocking selection in my eyes. Again,
Yeah,
considering how similar his skill set is to Kadarius Toney being a 5'8" wide receiver with a lot of run after the catch ability. It's an interesting pick for sure. Wan'Dale Robinson on the PFF draft board was the 125th ranked receiver. Robinson is one of the best gadget players in the class and can be a vertical weapon out of the slot. He caught 16 deep balls in 2021. That's PFF's instant analysis of him. Age is 21.3, so 21 years old in 3 months. 5'8", 178 pounds. I know he ran a 4.44 40-yard dash. But in 2021, his PFF grade was actually phenomenal. It was an elite 91.3 rating. He had a 90.9 receiving grade. Yards per route run was 3.56. His contested catch rate was a little below average at 52.9%. His grade versus man coverage was super elite at 89.2, and his drop rate was 6.3%, which is no longer, that's not at above or below average. It's
Jeez.
about average. So 7 drops on the season, 5.8 yards per catch, or yards after catch per reception. That's actually not too crazy. I know Kadarius Toney's number was higher on that end, so maybe not the exact same skill set. 10.4 average depth of target, so seems like a short guy. 73 slot catches, ranked 9th in the class. 35 screen catches, ranked 3rd in the catch. So this absolutely does feel like a gadget player, somebody that you roll out on a lot of wide receiver screens and short passes to try and get him upfield after the fact. Only 9 contested catches in his 2021 season. So with all those statistics brought to you by PFF combined, it does not sound like they got somebody. It sounds like they got somebody who got a very similar skill set to Kadarius Toney, a screen
Yeah, I
catcher
mean,
and a run after the catch man.
I'm watching him right now. I just found a clip, and I'll tell you what, he can break ankles. Like, he is so shifty. I mean, he makes guys miss. Like, thing is, he's like in their vicinity and he just disappears. He's tiny. The guy looks like he looks like that meme of Kyler Murray that's like a midget, like an inch tall Kyler Murray. That's what he looks like on the field. It's kind of weird. He's so small, but like really fast, really shifty. I don't really get it. I feel like he would have been there in the 3rd round. They could have probably got a couple of other guys before going this route. But maybe Joe Shane knew something that other teams were high on him, and that he could be an interesting gadget player. The more I look at him, I don't really think he's a replacement for Kadarius Toney to a degree. I think Kadarius Toney's more skilled, and offers more as a receiver. I think that this guy is purely a gadget type of player that you can use in those bubble screens and jet sweeps and stuff. But I don't see him as like a legitimate receiving threat. His wingspan is like the size of like a small chair. So I don't
Yeah,
exactly see how this makes sense as a Kadarius Toney replacement.
I don't think it's a Kadarius Toney replacement. This does feel like they just drafted a gadget player in the 2nd round. I'm not too crazy about this pick right off the bat. I have a few more instant analysis quotes from PFF, pros and cons. We got the pros: can't touch him in a phone booth kind of ability. So that's similar to Kadarius Toney. A lot of jukes and spin moves, all that kind of stuff. Undersized but very well built, a strong 178 pounds that took some licks in 2021. Not just an underneath slot guy, speed to get vertical up the seam. So those are the pros. The cons: such a limited catch radius, will have the smallest arms of any receiver in the NFL, and that does concern me a little bit. Second
That
con:
is
a ton
interesting.
of schemed production, a lot of schemed production, 35 screen receptions in
That's fine.
2021. I don't know. That's not always the best indicator of success at the next level for a collegiate prospect. And the third con that they had: gadget guy, but not utilized as returner, and had a little success when he was utilized as a returner. So very interesting there. I will say he was 6th in this draft class with 22 missed tackles forced. He was 6th in this draft class with 16 deep catches, 3rd in the class with 35 screen catches, and 4th in the class with 268 screen catch yards. So, seems like a slot receiver that's used in a gadget type role. And honestly, that seems like Kadarius Toney, but light. Not Kadarius Toney on steroids, not Kadarius Toney, but the light version of Kadarius Toney. So I'm a little confused with this pick. Definitely would not have been my selection personally, given the draft board at this time. But maybe Brian Dable can coach him up and prove us wrong, because at the moment, I'm a little confused, Alex. I'm a little confused with this pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that this was a huge reach, and I'm gonna say that I think they could have got him in the 4th round, maybe even the 5th round. I think that the Giants kind of whiffed on this one, and after yesterday's masterclass, they can afford to whiff on this one. But it is definitely a questionable call by Joe Schoen. I don't really understand why they wouldn't go with Sky Moore instead, or Nakobe Dean, or even David Ojabo. Like, this guy was going to be there with one of those picks in the 3rd round or the 4th. So really strange. I don't really understand why they went with a undersized 5'8", 107. This guy's literally, I'm bigger than this guy. I'm not as fast or quick as him, but I'm not a big person. He's a small dude, and like, I'm afraid that NFL players are going to throw him around like a rag doll, honestly. Like, you can grab him with one arm if you're strong enough and literally whip him to the ground. Like, that's a little bit concerning to me. I wonder if he'll have fumbling issues because of that, but we'll find out. Hopefully the Giants can get the most out of him. Any last thoughts on Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah, I'll add in his relative athletic score. His relative athletic score was a 7.36, ranked 737th out of 2,785 wide receivers from 1987 to 2022. His composite size grade was very poor by the RAS metric. His RAS height was a 0.53 out of 10. His weight was a 1.51 out of 10. His bench was pretty solid with 19 reps as a 9.11 out of 10. Okay. His composite explosion grade was only an okay score with a average vertical and a below average broad jump. Composite speed grade was elite, though. The 4.4440 ranked at 8.81 out of 10, 20-yard split 9.41 out of 10, and 10-yard split 9.84 out of 10. And his composite agility grade was good. He had an elite grade in the shuttle and an average grade in the three cone. So there's your relative athleticism for Wan'Dale Robinson. Again, he seems to be a gadget guy who can catch some screen passes, make a couple men miss, and hopefully gain some yards down the field after the catch. But honestly, seems like he needs refinement in the receiving tools. He has a very limited catch radius. You're not going to rely on him much in a contested catch rate. This really seems like a gadget guy that you send on deep routes or on screen passes. So I'm not too crazy about this pick here in the second round. I understand the Giants maybe needed some sort of gadget guy, maybe some sort of wide receiver, but in the second round, this does feel like a reach to me. His projected draft range by PFF was the fourth round. By the Draft Network, it also was not a second round grade. So this is a little bit of a reach in my eyes. I'm a bit confused with this selection, but hopefully Brian Dable has a plan for him and the New York Giants can develop him into something special. And I wonder what this means for Kadarius Toney. Again, I don't think that he is a Kadarius Toney replacement, but I think this is a very curious pick by the New York Giants, and I'm a little bit confused by it.
Yep, me as well. And guys, make sure you drop your comments and what your thoughts on this pick is below on the YouTube channel. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. Definitely interesting. We'll talk about him more in the coming days. We'll do some film breakdowns and show you guys some clips of all these players that we are drafting. So you'll have some more information coming out, and we'll give you guys some more knowledge on each of these guys to help us kind of formulate an opinion on him. But as always, really appreciate you guys tuning into this little reactionary video, taking a look at a very interesting selection. Make sure to like and subscribe below, and we'll catch you guys really soon when the Giants pick again in the third round.